Hey everybody, and welcome back to the board meeting. Today we're doing a cull because last week I bought some games and I was looking to put them somewhere and I was having trouble finding space for them anywhere in this room. And I'm surrounded by 5 different shelves and they're completely full. So I thought, hey, let's get rid of about 50 games. And luckily I came up with I think exactly 50 games. So we're culling 50 games. And my collection right now, as it stands, is getting very close to 400. I don't want it to be 400 at all. I wanted my collection to be around just a couple, like 7 months ago, I was like, I just want to keep it around 200, 250 or something like that. And it's ballooned upwards because I haven't gotten rid of any games yet. And when I'm getting rid of games, when I'm culling games, I'm looking at kind of 3 different things for that. One, do I like the game? If I don't like the game, there's no reason for it to be in my collection. So that's an automatic, easy boot. Second of all, are there 2 games that are so similar that I'm just picking one over the other time every time? Because if they're 2 games that are very similar, I don't need both of them most likely. And third kind of plays into that. If that game is not coming off the shelf at all and I have no want to play it. So that's when I'm going to cull that game. And for all of these games, I'm going to probably use them as giveaways for Zappapalooza. Zappapalooza 3 is coming up in a few months' time. No date yet announced. But if you do want to come to that, that's just an all-day board game day that I run, that we rent a place out and we play games for like 18, 19 hours. It's a really fun day. So if you're around the North Dakota area and you want to come to that, just message me and I'll set you up some details about when and where that's going to be happening. So let's get right into it. And first I've got a bunch of games no one's going to care about. And they're all mass market games. I got Sequence, Stratego, and I've got these 3 big games: Risk, Monopoly Empire, and Scooby-Doo Clue. And why I kept all of these games is because my son, I was going to get rid of them a couple years ago, and my son kept saying, hey, don't get rid of these games, I want to play them. I also got Jenga here. So that's 6 games right out of the way. But yeah, my son didn't want me to get rid of them, so I said, okay. But now we still haven't played any of them, they just sit there. Because he plays all these other games with me, so he's probably not going to choose those games much. Maybe it's because he knows I don't like them either, but yeah, so those are 6 games probably none of you care about. Let's get to the games that people would care about. I've got 4 solo games here, and the solo lovers might hate me for getting rid of some of these. First, I got Hostage Negotiator, which is this dice chucking game where you're going to be the negotiator. You're trying to rescue these hostages. You're going to have talks with the person who kidnapped the hostage, basically, and you're trying to convince them to let them go, or you're trying to take them out. You're trying to rescue hostages. It's some people, it seems to be, you either love it or you hate it. I wouldn't say I hate it, but I'm closer to hate than love for this game. Next, we have Cristallo, and this is kind of this card laying game, kind of in the way of Sprawlopolis, where you're going to have crystals on these cards. You're going to be laying these on top of each other card, trying to get 4 of the same crystals to line up, basically. I bought this a year ago, and I played it a couple times. This is one of the games this is, I think, one of 3 games on this that are here that I'm going to try and play one more time. And that's going to finally seal its fate, whether it's staying in the collection or not. But most likely this is out of the collection as well. I kind of had high hopes for that one. Next, we have One Deck Dungeon. This is another dice chucking game where you're going through this dungeon trying to overcome these obstacles and finally battle the big bad guy. I did not like this at all, but there is a huge fan base for this, it seems like. And I think there's a couple One Deck Dungeon games and expansions and stuff. But I'll find a good home for this that someone will enjoy it. Here's another very popular solo game, Black Sonata, where you are, I think you might be playing as Shakespeare, but you're trying to find the Dark Lady, and it uses this hidden movement game. And when I heard about a hidden movement solo only game, I was like, how is that going to work? But they pulled it off. This is a good game. I enjoy this game quite a bit. The thing is, I've played it that first month that I had it. I think I played it like 7 times, and now it's just sat on my shelf for the last 8 months, and I have no want to play it really at the moment, maybe ever. But it is a good game. I think I've just played it to the point I don't want it anymore. Fly trying to attack me over here. Ah, okay. So that's Black Sonata, and those are some 4 popular solo only games. Might get some hate for that. Next, I got some smaller games over here. I've got some roll and writes. Oh, I got 5 roll and writes here. First, Rolled West, which is the roll and write version of Gold West, and I can't even quite remember. That doesn't say a lot about this. And sorry if I don't remember everything about all these games, because a lot of them, why I'm calling them is I haven't played them for 2 years, a year. So yeah, not that memorable, obviously. Next, we have 2 games that I bought at Target for like, I think $4 each. Blocus, the dice games, just the roll and write version of Blocus. This one I did not like. And this is Lowdown, the dice game, which I actually did enjoy this game, but I played it like close to 10 times, and I was like, yeah, I'm done with it. But for $4, you can't really argue that it wasn't worth the price for either of those games, even if I didn't like Blocus that much. Next, we have Floor Plan. This is one that I actually did not like. This is a roll and write where you're actually making a blueprint of a house that you're building, and you're designing the windows, the doors, even the exterior of the house, where you're planting things. And for some reason, I thought I would really like this game, and I played it like 4 times, just looking for the fun that I was missing, obviously. And I never did find it, so that's Floor Plan. That's why that's leaving the collection. Hex Roller. This is a game I actually do like. This uses this honeycomb system, and you're going to be rolling these dice, and you're putting these numbers in these honeycomb areas, trying to fill out the different sections of honeycombs. And it's interesting, but the thing about this is I like the app much, much more. The physical game, I've played the physical game 4 or 5 times. I've played this app probably 100 times. This is a fun little app game, so I haven't broken out the physical game since then. So this is one of those instances where the app killed the board game for me. Going on to a couple more games. You've got your Exploding Kittens. This is a game I actually really hated for a while. This is a game you're going to be flipping over these cards, trying not to find an exploding kitten, and if you do, you're out of the game. But the last couple times I actually played it, I had a fun time. But the thing is, a bunch of my friends own this as well, and I wouldn't say I love it, but it's an okay game. But there's no reason for me to own it, because I'm not going to be the one that's bringing this to game night ever. Next, this is one of the games that I'm going to try one more time. This is Truffle Shuffle. This is by the same people who made Point Salad. Point Salad is a game I really, really like. And I thought I would really like this one as well. And this is you're drafting these cards, these numbered cards that are also colored. And it's kind of in Seven Wonders duel style, where you're drafting these cards that are covering each other, other cards. And you can't draft the cards that have a card on top of them until they are uncovered. And you're kind of making these poker hands. And I played this 3, 4, 5 times. And it's okay game. I don't think of it much. It's definitely no Point Salad to me. Some people seem to like it. I'm just mild on it. This is a game that I will be playing one more time. One more time at least, to make my final decision though. Next we have Crow's Overkill, and this is an Emperor S4 game, and these games seem to be, I either really like them or not so much. And it's just kind of this card game where you're trying to not get crows, because if you have so many crows, you're eliminated, and you're trying to give your opponents crows, kind of. I really didn't care for this game much at all, to be honest. It's not memorable. It's not like I hate it, but it's just not memorable. Here's where one game killed another game for me. This is Kokoro Avenue of Kadama. This is a roll and write, or a flip and write game, where you're going to be building these paths. The thing about this is, it's so much like Trails of Tucana, but I like Trails of Tucana way, way more. So I had Trails of Tucana actually before this one, even though this is an older game. And then I got Kokoro, and I played it, I'm like, yeah, it's Trails of Tucana, but worse. I'm not saying it's a bad game, but Trails of Tucana is like pretty high up on the roll and write tier for me. So this is a game that's like Trails of Tucana, but less depth to it. So this one, good game, but this one will be leaving. Here is another Emperor S4 game, and this is one of these polyomino games where you're trying to place different shapes into your little grid, and you're trying to make those shapes, you're trying to make certain colored patterns that bind buildings. And this was an okay game, nothing amazing, so it's getting the boot as well. Next, Shifting Stones. Shifting Stones is this pattern building game. You got these cards that you're trying to build a pattern of the main board. You're going to be shifting these stones. You're going to be shifting them over or flipping them over to their other side, which has a different color. Just trying to complete these cards. This is a decent game, but it's, I think the solo game I didn't like at all. The multiplayer game is substantially better, but it's just an average game to me that I haven't really thought about since I played it the first 3 or 4 times. So, next game. Jeez, I got a lot of rolling rates. And this, getting rid of like 8 rolling rates. Alright, Imperial Settlers roll and write. This is obviously the roll and write version of Imperial Settlers. I got this game because of the solo mode. The solo mode was hyped to me, and so I had to try it. I've never played Imperial Settlers, so I wasn't sure how to compare it to this. But this is just a okay game. I didn't think nothing about it, not memorable to me. So but a lot of people seem to really like that. So I'm probably in the minority on a lot of these games. I don't think I'll be in the minority in this one though. This is the Furglers. This game is basically nothing. You're going to be rolling these dice, and some of these sides of these dice have fur on them. And if you have fur on them, you keep them in front of you, and then some of the dice will have hands, which will steal furry dice from other players. When it comes back to your turn and you have furry dice on your card, you score points for how many you have left. I despised this game, but to be honest, my son liked it. My nephew enjoyed it a little bit. So it maybe not being culled, but it might be just being put into Kai's room forever, my son. Next, we have the very popular Smash Up game. And this is a game where you're going to take 2 factions and smash those decks together to build this new interesting deck. This is a game that just never really hit for me. I've only played it like twice, and both times I'm like, whatever, you know. But it's very popular. There's so many expansions for this now, but it just never really took off with me. So next is the newest game on this list, the newest to me, I should say. This is Last Defense. Actually, I'm reviewing it in probably the next episode that I'm making, so kind of spoilers. This is a fine little like kids cooperative game where you're trying to wipe out these invading monsters. The thing is, it's so easy to beat. I played it with my nephew like 3 times last week, right after I bought it, and I was like, okay, I didn't like it that much. It was way too easy. And I thought, well, maybe my nephew liked it. And after we got done playing, he goes, that was too easy. So if my 9-year-old nephew says it's too easy, it probably could be good for younger aged kids, but it didn't work for us. Next, Catan Family Edition. Catan is one of the first games. It is the first modern board game that I ever played, actually, and probably most of you have played this game. This is the Family Edition, so it's a little bit easier to set up and everything. Pretty much the same game other than that. And I don't actually think I've ever played this version of it. Maybe once or twice several years back. But I have a bunch of friends that own Catan, and I've never brought this to game night. And I'm not big on Catan anymore, but I have friends that enjoy it. So I'm not going to be the one that brings Catan, so that's why that's leaving the collection. Here's another kind of a popular mass market almost game, Munchkin Deluxe Edition. It's kind of like a little silly dungeon crawler where you're trying to get to the 10th level of the dungeon. But I played it a few times and it just never came off the shelf again. It's been sitting on that shelf for, I think, 2 years now, so no reason for me to own it. Here's, well, I'll wait for that one. Another roll and write. This is my last roll and write, I promise. This is Roll and Write, the dice game, which Roll and Write is a roll and write. And this is you're going to be rolling these dice that have different colors on them, and you're going to be coloring in those different spots on this grid, trying to make patterns with those different colors. And this is a decent game. It's just so fiddly to me. It's really annoying multiplayer because there's only one set of markers of all these different colored markers, and you're going to be coloring several spots each turn, and they're going to be different colors. So it's like, oh, I need the green, waiting for the green marker. Oh, this person needs the green marker too. So you're constantly waiting for other people to pass you the markers. It's a decent solo game. I didn't like it multiplayer at all. Next is a game I did not like at all. This is Go Nuts for Donuts, which is kind of a sequel to Sushi Go. So when I heard of this, I was very excited because I enjoy Sushi Go quite a bit. Instead of sushi, though, you're going to have these different donuts that are outscoring in different ways. But at the start of each game, there's going to be so many donuts for however many players you're playing with, and they're going to be under these 1, 2, or 3, 4, or 5 column or whatever, and you're going to secretly pick which donut you would like. If someone picks that same donut as you, you both don't get anything. If you're the only one who picks that donut, you get it. So, I mean, I've played games of this where I only got 1 donut total. That's not that much fun. For a set collecting game where sometimes you're not going to be getting many sets, not that great for myself. Next is another little small game. This is Village Green, which, there's no picture of it on the back, but there's going to be kind of a grid. There's going to be 3 scoring cards up top and 3 scoring cards on the bottom, making a column. And they're going to be the cards that you put in that row or column will score, determined by how that scoring card is. It's interesting. I kind of played it. I kind of outplayed it, but it's a decent little card game if you're looking for something. Next, this is I think this is Marvel Infinity Gauntlet is what it's called, a love letter game. This is really nothing like original Love Letter to me. I like the game Love Letter. I did not enjoy this. This 1 versus mini game, one player plays as Thanos and the rest are trying to beat him down. So yeah, this is a Love Letter game that really, to me, is nothing like Love Letter. But some people might like it. Next is Welkin. This is one of the games that is going to get one more shot to stay in my collection because this hasn't been played for a year, and I only did play it once, and I thought it was good, but it just never came off the shelf. So maybe something that says something that. But this is, I really like the look of the game, but this is kind of a market fluctuation game, if I remember right. You're going to be flipping over these tiles and buying, I think, new cards and everything. Like I said, it's going to get one more shot. If not, though, it's getting the axe if I don't like it that much. I do like the look. I'm a sucker for colorful games, and this has that. Well, let's go to the next big stack of games. Alright, here is a very good looking game. This is Jamaica. This is a racing game where you're playing as pirates. You're laying down these cards trying to move around the water map. And you're going to be playing cards, and that determines how much you move. And you have a little storage area where you're going to be putting your coins and booty kind of thing. It's a good looking game. It just never gets pulled off the shelf anymore. So, but a lot of people do like that game as well. This next game is probably my favorite game out of all of these. And this is kind of a cheeky pick because this is Seven Wonders. This is a very popular drafting game. Why do I have all my box lids upside down today? Very popular drafting game where you're building up a civilization. And well, this is kind of a cheeky pick because there's a newer edition that came out. And I kind of want the newer edition. I'm not quite sure I'll get it, but I'm going to be getting rid of this, and I might be getting the new edition. But I've said a couple times that I don't play Seven Wonders much anymore because it's kind of been replaced by a different game, Hadara, which is the same civilization drafting card game. But this is I really like Seven Wonders. But yep, this one's leaving. Might be replaced by the same game, but okay, next is this game that is the best looking game in my opinion out of all these games. This is the 2-player Dice Throne game. Really nice components and everything, nice player boards in these, and this is an asymmetrical dice chucking game. We're going to be battling each other till one player dies. A lot of people seem to really like these games, and I can't blame them. I'm definitely just in the minority for not liking them. But I played it a few times, and each time I'm just like, I don't know what it is, but I just can't get into it for some reason. But love the look of these games. I thought about just keeping these games because they look so nice. But I'm sure I can find someone who's going to enjoy it more than I will. Here's a game I did not like at all when I played it. This is Godzilla Tokyo Clash. And I bought it, first of all, because my son is a Godzilla fanboy. He loves Godzilla. We go to all the movies and everything. He knows the lore of Godzilla and his stuff. But it's a, what is this, by Funko? Yeah, it's by Funko. And you're going to be playing as the monsters in the Godzilla world. And you're moving around the city, like, throwing things at the other player and battling. Me and him both did not like this game at all. Like, we played it once, and I was like, well, maybe he liked it. No, he said he'd never wanted to play this game again. And, hey, he's the reason I bought this game, so if he doesn't like it, which I didn't like it for sure, there's no reason for me to keep it. We can find someone who will, that's for sure. Next is Wreck Raiders, which this is kind of this set collection game, worker placement, kind of. But there's one thing I did not like about this game. This box lid, when you take it off, you're going to be rolling dice into the box lid, and there's going to be different things in it, and if the dice land on a particular thing, you get that kind of reward, almost. I don't like that mechanic. I did not like it at all, I should say. I liked the rest of the game, but throwing it in there seemed like, hey, I really would like this thing, but if I roll my dice, you can be cheeky about those dice rolls. You're supposed to just chuck them in there. But if you see that something in that corner over there is something you need, you can you can kind of accidentally, on purpose, roll that over there. So, Recreators, I do like the cover though. It's a nice looking game. Next we have a cooperative game. This is Flashpoint Fire Rescue, which this is, you're going to be firefighters moving around this building, putting out fires and rescuing civilians, bringing them back outside. The reason why I'm getting rid of this game, even though I like this game, is it's very pandemic-esque. Instead of getting rid of viruses on the board, you're getting rid of these fires and just picking up and delivering these people outside. The thing is, I 100% of the time, if I'm going to pick a cooperative game and I want something kind of like Pandemic, I'm going to pick Pandemic over this Flashpoint. Even though I think it's a good game, it's just it's one of those games that another game does it better to me. So, yes, Flashpoint Fire Rescue. Next, we have this Dice Forge. And Dice Forge is interesting, but it's just very fiddly to me. You're going to be rolling these dice, and all on these dice will be different rewards. Like, you're going to be getting gold or something to buy other cards with. But the dice faces actually come off, because you're going to be buying new dice faces to replace those old ones. So your dice are slowly going to get better and better throughout the game. The thing about it is it feels so fiddly to me. It's a good game, but I don't break it out because of that, kind of. Nice looking game, though. But yes, see, there's the dice up there, and they just pop them off, and I kept popping mine off, and they go flying. So, time out, I gotta go find this tile again, replace this. Next, we have a game I've never played, and I don't see it happening anytime in the future. This is a Game of Thrones, the board game. And yep, I have not played this game at all. I've read the rule book one time, but it's such a long game that you have to have this group like, hey, we're gonna be sitting down for, I don't know, 4 hours, whatever it ends up being. And that doesn't happen. But I would really like to play this game sometime. I have a couple friends who own it, so maybe eventually I'll get it played. But yeah, it's leaving the collection just because I've had it sitting there for 2 years now, and it's not happening. So bye-bye, game. All right, here's a very popular game, and this is one game that I'm going to give one more shot to. It's heavy too. Caverna, the Cave Farmers. This is a very popular Uwe Rosenberg game. And I've only played this game one time. And when I played it, it's a very dry Euro game, which I'm a fan of that. I like these dry Euro games. And I played it, and maybe it was because I played it early on into my gaming career, whatever you want to say. Right when I got into board games, I played it. And I did not like it. The person I played it with, they liked it a lot, and I was just like, yeah, that's a game. Why don't I like it? What's wrong with me? I don't like this game. But I'm going to give it one more shot because, like I said, I've only played it the one time. I'm going to try and play it this next week, maybe next week or two. Hopefully, give it another shot. But I did not like that first play. But that's been a few years ago, so things might have changed. Next, we have a Stonemaier game, Euphoria, Build a Better Dystopia. And this is kind of a shocker because this is a Stonemaier game, which I tend to like Stonemaier games. And even more of a shocker, it is a dice placement game. Dice placement is my favorite mechanic. Love dice placement games. And the theme is, I think you're running a some kind of organization or something, and you're trying to keep your workers happy but dumb, if I remember right. And yeah, I played it, and I just was like, what is this? What is wrong with me? Why don't I like this game? But I did not like it. Which is just weird considering how much I like dice placement games, and this might be one of my least favorite ones so far. Maybe I'll try this again before I cull it, but I think this is on the chopping block. This is going to a new family. It's getting rehomed. All right, we have one more game, and it's the biggest game on this list. This is the game I really like. Arcadia Quest. This is just this dungeon dice chucking game. It's a campaign style game. You're going to be going through a campaign, upgrading your people. Excuse me. Yeah, it's a really interesting, fun dice chucking game. Had a lot of fun playing through this. I played through the first campaign, this game, and then my friend bought the second Arcadia Quest, which is one that deals with angels and demons and stuff like that. And we played through that, and that was 2 years ago now, and I haven't wanted to play another campaign or break this out for a single game again since then. So, yeah, it's a game that I really like. The miniatures are cute. It's just a funny game. It's got this exploding dice mechanism where if you roll a certain thing, you get to keep rolling. So even though you might look like you're going to fail something, you might get that exploding dice thing happening, and you could end up succeeding on something you didn't expect to. Really fun game. It's got so many miniatures. God, I do like this game. I'm sad that I'm getting rid of it, but and even the front cover I like a lot. I'm sad I'm getting rid of it, but let's give it to someone who will enjoy it as much as I did. Since I've not wanted to play it again since. You kind of wear yourself out when in these campaign style games. You don't really want to go through them again sometimes. But that is all 50 games. This is the longest video I've ever made. My voice is actually dying now since I've talked for 30 straight minutes. But what did you guys think of these games? Which games am I making a mistake by culling? Let me know down below. And if you enjoy this video, make sure to like and subscribe to see more weekly content from me, Shane, at the board meeting in the future. I hope you all have an amazing day. Take care, everyone.